Welcome to the Working in PLM 4.0 show.
Today we jump back to the manufacturing operations world.
Now, would it surprise you to learn that 81% of industrial companies still do not have a manufacturing execution or dedicated operations management system in place?
Even before the onset of Industry 4.0 technologies and digital transformation, accuracy and consistency in manufacturing operations management depended on having at least some MES functionality in place.
So fast forward to today, and most operations executives agree that MES-MOM is a fundamental building block of a digitalized industrial enterprise. Now, I think our timing for the show is very, very appropriate, as in a few minutes, literally in about 29 minutes, I'm going to be heading out to Boston for the Dassault Systèmes Delmia World Tour, but more about that a little bit later.
Right, that's later. Today, we're going to welcome one of our MES MOM solution architects, Faisal Abbasi, who's been in manufacturing for 9 years. He started in line and application support. He's been in automotive, health and beauty, weapons and defense, aerospace, and he's a senior solution consultant. Should be exciting.
Ready, set, go. So, welcome, Faisal. How are you?
Hi, Andrew and Brian. I'm very well. Andrew, just to let you know, I'm a regular follower of your shows and interviews. So I feel delighted and honored that today I get the opportunity to be part of it as well. So thank you.
Exactly. Better late
He
than
only
never.
follows
Thank
your
you.
shows, Andrew, not mine, even though we're on here at the same time, Faisal.
Who are you? Oh yeah, Brian. He comes in occasionally.
Brian, I like you too as well.
Welcome. So where are you today, Faisal?
I am in Asia at the moment.
Okay, got it. Because you were in the UK up until pretty recently, so you've taken a trip out to Asia. So good. Hopefully things aren't getting too cold for you over there yet.
Well, things are not cold at all. It's quite a good weather right now. You can see me wearing like half sleeves. So yeah, we are making the most of the spring until we get it, and then we expect cold weather quite soon.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All righty. So let's kick the show off. Tell us about what you do.
Okay, so I work as a Delmia Apriso solution architect. My primary role is to work with existing Apriso customers to enhance and improve their current solution, to increase performance and productivity. And I also work with new clients. I help them understand how the Delmia Apriso can provide more visibility, control, and synchronization of global manufacturing operation in their system. It involves a bit of pre-sales activity as well.
So Delmia and Apriso all are systems that are used for the MES and MOM that we talked about in the intro a little bit. Can you explain what is MES?
Manufacturing execution systems are software solutions that ensure quality and efficiency are built into the manufacturing process. MES connects with multiple plants, sites, and vendor live production formation, and integrates easily with equipment and enterprise business applications. If I have to put it in a nutshell, it has the power to provide you the complete visibility, control, and manufacturing optimization of production process across the enterprise.
So what's the difference, do you think, between MES and MOM?
MES, I see it focusing on production level of activities inside the plant, and MOM's covering rest of the activities, which are not limited to warehousing, quality, maintenance, intelligence, time and labor, machine integrator. So all those areas, I would say, focus mainly on MOM operations.
No, I grew up all my life thinking that moms didn't like messes, but I guess we're learning differently here that messes and moms go together.
Ouch, that's bad. But let me tell you now that moms love mess. They love it. They're firmly integrated. They are as one almost. That'll get me in trouble. Anyways, but really they are. So what are some of the challenges, Faisal, with MESMOM?
It's a really good question, actually, because I feel every MES and MOM projects has its own challenge, and it's every project has a different sort of challenge which you have to adopt to. If I have to pick one, I would say that the biggest challenge so far for me is to always clearly understand the customer requirements right from the outset and meet their expectation by providing the level of service they expect from you.
So how do you do that? How do you take these challenges you mentioned and actually overcome those?
It is not one of the easiest tasks of the project, but probably the most interesting part. For example, I've been in situations where the key users have been reluctant to adopt a new MES solution for a variety of reasons. It could be that they are not comfortable with the use of existing application, or they're not fully aware of what values MES can bring to their day-to-day tasks. So when you are faced up with such scenarios, you have to think ahead, and you have to go an extra mile in order to understand the customer's concerns, reassure them about the improvements that MES solution can bring into their day-to-day activities and make the job easier, and create an environment between yourself and the customers as one team. So they are able to trust you, and they're able to talk to you about their, let's say, concerns, no matter how minor they could be. But as long as they feel that they can speak to you about their problems and you are there to help them, they tend to open up more, and they give you more information, and probably the key information you're looking for. And that's how it makes it easy for you to go and go into any project and overcome these challenges. There are scenarios, for example, where client hires you because of your experience and expertise, and the expectation from them is to deliver for you to deliver better service than your competitor, or if you're new to the project, then as a main stakeholder. And this can only be possible by clear understanding of the system and their needs, and ensuring also that everything you discuss with them, everything you talk about is well documented right from the beginning of the project. And you're confident enough to identify and explain the problems you see, the existing problems, and also propose solutions to them, to those problems. And the key is to promise only what you can realistically deliver within time frame.
Yeah. It's very personal by the sounds of it. You have to get really close to them. You got it. So Apriso MOM is a big area. It obviously sits across production execution, quality, warehousing, maintenance, manufacturing intelligence, et cetera. Of all of those kind of MOM areas, which one is going to be your personal favorite, your number one, and why?
It's not a very easy question to answer because I like them all. I enjoy working with them because they all bring us something new to the project. But if I have to pick one, I would say perhaps the warehousing module, because it gives you the bigger picture of the whole product lifecycle. Like, let's say, from receiving, where you could be receiving raw materials for production, and you could be receiving information from ERP systems to transfer and storage of those raw materials in transfer and storage part of it, and also in the shipping transaction, where you are shipping the finished goods to the customers, and also inventory counting be part of it. So I like enjoying working with all these different transactions, and giving the user the power of seeing the bigger picture in their mind, to see what's going on around the whole plant.
So you said that warehousing was your number one area here. Let's dive in a little bit into that, explore the warehouse. What are the main business process challenges that you've encountered in this area?
The main business processes, I would say, is to ensuring that the modules I spoke about are working well together, are well synchronized. So you're not losing track of, let's say, key information, for instance, and all the different team members working on different modules are able to see each other activities, the key information, and they have the traceability. So making sure that the solution is develop up to the scale where everything is easy for, let's say, supervisor or management level to track. And in regards to, let's say, for example, one prime example could be a bad part delivered to customer, for instance. In that case, these modules should be working well enough for the management to track back to the lot or the production of these bad parts, and which is very critical for production environment for legal reasons and other reasons as well.
So what are the, I mean, you've touched on a couple of areas there. What are the critical integration points, be that supply chain, maybe ERP, down to the floor, etc., and how do you actually handle those?
In that case, you could see that the critical integration points would be how different interfaces, for example, work together. Because when you are talking about MES, this is just one part of the solution which any plant would be using, and that needs to interact with other applications as well. Either it could be ERP, like SAP and other solutions, and it could be standalone solutions working with MES. So ensuring that they talk to each other in a most efficient manner, and there is no information clogging. For example, you could have hundred of IDOCs containing the key information being processed from one system to another, and making sure that the interfaces are configured properly and they're able to handle a high level of information, and there are no bottlenecks. This would be my key challenge, because we have seen in the past many performance issues due to these bottlenecks. Well, the interfaces are not working well together, and as long as you can address the key critical configuration and you have tested them thoroughly, then you can provide an environment where even if the client customer needs, for example, increases and they have more data to process, it can handle those pressures as well.
So it sounds like you've had an interesting experience working in this area over the past 9 years. And thinking back, let's say you had to pick one of the most successful Apriso programs you've been on. You know, like, what was the situation you walked into, the main task you had to take on? What was the experience?
I'm glad you asked that question. The project I'd be happy to talk about is one of our UK projects, which was in defense. It was challenging because we were getting into something which was developed by our competitor, their current provider, and the customer were not really satisfied with the current level of service and also the way the application was working for them. So the biggest challenge was to go and understand the customer concerns and understand the problems with the current solution. That meant that we had to work with our competitors as well, try to understand the current solution, the sort of documentation which was provided to us at that stage. And in order to achieve that, the flexibility was key, because it also required some time, for example, traveling to customer site, and not just customer, in also our competitor side. And the thing which really helped us out is, like, we were happy to come forward and propose, let's say, discussion, or let's say meetings, even if you had to travel to the competitor side, and in order to understand the current solution well. And it helped us to create a good environment with our competitor, which is not the easiest thing to do in our project, and also with the customer, and talk to them openly, and also speak to them if there are any issues we see forthcoming, or any issues which might have been occurred due to the previous development, in a professional manner. So no, let's say, finger pointing, but instead talk to them in a way that we are all here to make this project a success, and work with them. And I'm glad to say that in that particular project, I was able to get the approval from a customer, and also was able to get the information I required for the project to proceed. And in the end result was improved solution which addressed the customer concerns, and they were happy with the performance. So yeah, quite glad with it.
So was it wall-to-wall Apriso? Was it all of the modules that were in play?
Not all of them.
Okay.
The customer were using some of the modules. Actually, just talking of the modules, we ended up proposing some module solution to customers, which we thought was close to their requirements. And if I have to name one, is archiving, because we thought that archiving could really help them improving the performance. They had a huge database with huge level of data, and nothing was archived. So we proposed them the archive solution. And also there was a part of project where we were working to migrate their old level of Apriso, revision of Apriso into the new revision. So migration was part of it as well. And that gave us an opportunity to propose them better infrastructure requirement as well, powerful enough to, and scalable enough to handle all sort of future requirements.
Got it. How long did knowledge transfer take then, with your competitors outbound and you inbound?
It took a bit of time, I would say several months. But good thing was the customer was very cooperative, and they gave us the free hand to take as much time as we require in order to
I'm sure the customer's extremely cooperative. It's mainly the competitor you got to worry about, isn't it? So
absolutely, Andrew. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, customer being cooperative helps you going to the competitor with the confidence that yes, you are here to bring positive changes to the project, and you have a full support of your customer, and you are here to work with them. So obviously they would be reluctant. I mean, it's natural to feel the tension in the project where a competitor knows that you're taking over their work. But at the same time, it depends upon the way you interact with them, and as long as you're professional, as long as you are working with them in a positive frame of mind. In our case, the competitor, they were able to work with us and gave us the support we needed. There were initial hiccups where they were reluctant in certain areas, but with the support of our customer, with a little bit of pressure from them as well, we were able to extract information we required in order to move forward with the project. Great.
So in summary, what constitutes a successful MESMOM deployment for you?
It's very critical to see a project as a group of small entities. It's not just about deploying a solution as per customer needs. It's also about making sure that solution is easy to use by key users. And it's you have for example, proper documentation created for that solution in order for anyone new coming into the project, they feel it easy to get integrated. And also this solution is scalable enough to handle the future requirements of the project. So that would constitute a successful MESMOM deployment for me.
From what you're saying, I'm picking up a definite, you're excited about this, you're passionate about it, and you seem to know quite a lot about MESMOM area. But how did you get started? How did your journey into MESMOM begin?
Brian, it's a very interesting story, actually. I started with MES 9 years ago, and you will be surprised to know that prior to that, I never heard of MES in my life. I didn't know what it does and all that. So when I was offered an opportunity to work in MES as a consultant, so naturally I was curious. So I did a bit of my own research. And I was gobsmacked to see how big MES is in today's manufacturing world, and what is the impact it's having. After this, there was no stopping me. So at the same moment in time, I knew this is for me, and I decided to take up this opportunity. I worked in this role as a support consultant for a year, then move on to development, and worked with development team, and finally made my way to solution architect and design level. So there was no looking back since that point.
Very cool. So obviously we've got all of these Industry 4 technologies, some cool stuff, AI, machine learning, et cetera, big data going on. So there's a pent-up demand of people wanting to get into manufacturing. So what advice would you give to someone wanting to do your job?
I mean, the truth is, like MES being very peculiar, there will always be demand for new resources to coming into the project. And considering all this, my advice would be quite simple. I mean, focus on communication, both with internal team and with the customer. Also, I strongly feel that the clear communication at the beginning of the project saves you a lot of problems at the later stage of development. As we discussed before, try to have everything documented for reference whenever you need it. And as long as you do these key factors or key things right, I think you will be okay.
I want to just dive into that a little bit more. You said that when you started this, you had never heard of MES before, and you kind of had the opportunity to dive in. And we just had the question of how someone can get into this. But if we want to really explore a complete newcomer, a whole rookie to the field, really diving into this, how does a newcomer get involved?
It's very important, Brian, that you create an environment in whatever organization you're working in to make it easy for anyone coming new to the project. Because it's quite an important phase in the project when you're injecting new resources. I remember creating a team of just not work colleagues, but friends as well. So there's a environment where they feel comfortable enough to ask you questions, and if they don't understand anything, like which we expect to happen at the start of the project, they are happy enough or comfortable enough to challenge you and ask you questions, which gives them the answers. So for me, the key thing would be to have an environment where everyone is valued, everyone is listened to, and they are given opportunity to propose, let's say, something they see which can help the project, and they are appreciated at the same time. So this would create a good team where you would enjoy working and you can trust. So that is kind of working together, and not just as work colleagues, but as a family.
So teamwork is mom approved.
Indeed.
So what are you doing right now? What are you working on? Tell us a little bit about your current project.
Okay, so as you know, I'm in Asia right now, so I'm working remotely. Currently, I'm working on Apriso's inventory counting module. My main goal is to customize the out-of-box solution as per customer needs, which involves working closely with the business process team to discuss global and site-specific requirements, propose them the solutions with their pros and cons, and once we have an agreement, then proceed with the development after a fully final solution. So that's what's going on at the moment.
What have been some of the kind of challenges that you've come across that you've managed to overcome in the solution so far?
Challenges quite similar to the main challenging project discussion we had earlier is coming new to the project. Of course, the customer expects that you will bring in your experience and you will identify, let's say, the critical points of the project and where you can improve on. But as you're working with competitor always, you have to be very careful with your approach, and not to make the competitor feel alienated from the project or insecure, but make them feel that you're working as a part of their team to make the project work. And at the same time, confident enough to identify the problems you feel and provide them solutions. And this would be like working in a triangle where one side is customer and you're working with competitor, and your end goal is to make to get the solution which works as per customer needs and in a good time as well. So these would be the main challenges right now.
That's great. It's great. Good job. Faisal, thanks so much. Really appreciate you coming on. It's a big area, Apriso solution architect. As you say, there's so many modules out there. I tend to feel that, what you learned on day one, year one, I mean, now 7, 8, 9, 10 years in, you've just learned a whole new way of doing things. I think you've learned greater empathy for the business. I think you've learned best practices, be that data models and processes. I think you've learned probably even how to develop Process Builder at some speed than you might have done maybe in month one, in year one. I don't know if that's fair to say, but I know you've been through all of that.
It's my pleasure, Andrew. Good to be part of this show, finally.
Yeah, thanks for hopping on and showing us that basically learning never ends.
Exactly. Good.
Yeah,
Faisal, thank you,
fun
sir.
over in the warm weather that we are not having currently over here.
I'll try to. Thank you.
Good. Thanks, Faisal.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye. So I am heading off to hear more. Yeah, I'm about to run off. I'm about to hear all about Apriso and Quintic and Delmia digital manufacturing and all sorts of great things. In fact, we've got a fun-filled agenda over in Boston. We're dealing with digital twin, resilience in the supply chain, MBSE in manufacturing, the future factory, augmented reality, and the workforce of the future. Really full agenda coming up on Thursday for us. So looking forward to
maybe
that.
next week we should just do like a recap of everything that happens to you once you're in Boston, and we can do a world tour roundup next week.
I hope I could keep up with that amount of stuff. Otherwise, I'll just video and play or something. Absolutely good. Let's look ahead. So next week, we'll probably do a bit of a mashup and run down on what we saw at the Delmia World Tour. The week after that, we are going back to the Nordics with our very own Håkan Theobald over there. We just dropped that one on him, so I'm not sure if he's going to turn up with a guitar or his grand piano and sing to us, or whether we're going to actually put something out that's intelligent. Hopefully it's the latter.
Hopefully the last one.
You bet. And then the week after that, we're going CPG retail. Really good. We've just put a partnership together. We have a total solution in the Delmia space that covers everything except Quintic. We sold that by bringing in probably one of the best Quintic partners as part of our total offering together, the Logic Factory. So we're going to be talking to them in a couple of weeks' time as well. So thanks ever so much, everyone, for joining us today. See you at the Delmia World Tour if you're there, and see you next week.
Yeah, you go catch a plane, and we'll get back to work. And everybody have a great rest of your day.
Sounds good. We'll do. See you then.